December the 3rd. And here's a story that goes all the way back to the 19th century, 1893. So in 1893, the Americans looked across the pond of France and said, look at those feckers with that nice Eiffel Tower. We'd have to do a better job than them. Otherwise it looks as if their engineers are better than our engineers, and that's just not the case. So let's get a couple of boys together. Onto the stage comes a man by the name of Daniel Burnham and John Wellhorn. Daniel is an architect and Mr. Wellhorn is an engineer, and the two of them then are commissioned. Put together, lads, an exhibition. And in the exhibition, what we want is something to show off our ability to engineer better than the Europeans. We want something grandiose, lads. Nothing run of the mill, nothing middle road, right? None of that Britpop. We want something with a bang. So Mr. Burnham and Mr. Wellhorn got together, and they had a budget. But what happened was the officials in Chicago had said to them, "We can't figure out where the fuck you're going to put this." So they were delayed 1 month, delayed 2 months, kept on getting delayed, and it wasn't for the fact that Mr. Burnham was an optimist. The whole thing probably wouldn't have got off the ground. Eventually, the officials said, "See that marshy area over there on the outskirts of Chicago? You can take that. You can take that piece of shit and see what you can do with it." Well, the two boyos said, all right, well, we'll do just that, but this is a tough timeline here, lads. You've after wasted our time for so long, it's going to be difficult to get the job done, because they had to drain the marsh and put in concrete and all the rest. Anyway, they were on track to meet their deadline when a fella by the name of H.H. Smith, who ran a hotel nearby and a pharmacy on the ground level. The rest of the building was a hotel. Well, he decided that maybe murder was something that might be enjoyable. And so he created a number of different hidden walls and trapdoors and secret compartments all around his hotel. So much so that the hotel later became known as Murder Castle. And with the pantomime and uproar of this upcoming exhibition, the media were not paying any attention to what might be going on in the background. So he started advertising. And he would say to the girls, "Why don't you come and work in my hotel? I give you free board and what have you." And saying nothing about the fact that he was a prolific murderer, and they would meet there. The grisliest of ends. May the 1st, 1893, not long after a man by the name of George Ferris came on the scene, the exhibition was opened and was an immediate success. No more so because the man, Mr. Ferris, had created the Ferris wheel, 264 foot off the ground. An engineering spectacle with 100 cars that would cart around in a circular motion, so that when you get to the top of the rotation, you could see out all across the Windy City. People were fearful. "I'm not going on that thing," they would have said to themselves. "Fuck that for a bag of fish," or whatever it was that they said in the 19th century when they were fearful. But when a couple of people went on it and it looked like it wasn't falling apart, the Ferris wheel was the highlight of the entire show. Not long after the exhibition was opened, H.H. Smith was caught red-handed in the murder of a business partner. And after a little bit of investigation, it transpired, or there was enough evidence at least, to pin him with the murder of 27 individuals. Many people speculated it was closer to 250 people. who met their demise, who met their end in that murder castle nearby. So the exhibition itself was overshadowed by this hideous crime, which was uncovered just around the corner. And no sooner were the pages smeared with the excellence of Chicago engineering that the media began a circus around Murder Castle and the death of 200 people. H.H. Smith was only convicted of one murder, which was the business partner which instigated the investigation in the first place. And he denied allegation of mass murder all the way up until the point where he was hung by the neck in 1896. So there you go. There's the story of the Windy City. The Devil in the Windy City is the name of that. Erik Larson is the author. Check it out, kids.